Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bantz with Lawrencia on the Lawren TV, a channel that celebrates ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So please subscribe, like, share, and also click on our notification bell to get notified anytime I post new content. So for today's episode, I want to talk about the new second wife trend that is going on. A lot of our brothers, a lot of our fathers, a lot of our men are going back to Nigeria to take second wives, especially those in diaspora. You know, some of them relocated with their family in diaspora. Some of them met their wives, their first wife in diaspora, married them, and then, you know, after a couple of children, they go back to Nigeria to take a second wife. And then the first wife or the families of the first wife, they come online to complain about the heartache that this has caused on the wife's family and the children. So I want us to really talk about this topic because polygamy has always been the norm in African culture, where a man can take more than one wife. In fact, in the Muslim culture, you are entitled to 4 wives. So that was not a problem in the Muslim community. It was also not a problem in the traditional sense. So initially what happens was, if a man sees somebody that he's interested in, he takes that person as his wife regardless. So we see in the olden days, we see a lot of people having 10 wives, 5 wives, 4 wives, and the minimum of them was 2 wives, and everybody lived fine, because if a man is getting married, the first wife knows that, okay, there's a possibility that this man is going to get married to another wife. So that expectation is kind of managed from the beginning, getting into that relationship. But since the Oyibo culture has brought in the one wife agenda, now our men are forced to just stay with one woman. So even these Oyibo people that brought this culture to us, on average, they get married to 3 wives in their lifetime. So they are happy to get married to one woman, and once that is no longer working, they're happy to divorce that woman, marry another wife, and get it moving. So we Africans, the way we previously managed the situation is, we keep the first wife, marry a second wife, and they all live together. But since we've adopted the foreign culture of one man, one woman, this has created a whole lot of problems, whereby a lot of men have baby mamas outside, they have mistresses, they have girlfriends, they have side chicks, and in most cases, the first wife, they are aware that their husbands are cheating, their husbands have mistresses, their husbands have baby mamas, their husbands have side chicks. They are happy with that. They don't have a problem with that in most cases, because they feel that they are the main wife in the house and society respects them. It's all about respect. It's all about, you know, you are the wife and we acknowledge you, we respect you regardless of what your husband is doing outside. But things are changing, whereby these men are no longer just comfortable with having side chicks. They are no longer comfortable with having mistresses. They are no longer comfortable with having baby mamas. So what they want is second wives, even third wife. I mean, looking at the case of Regina Daniels, she is the 6th wife of Ned Nwoko, and nobody is frowning, you know, against that, because he's a billionaire, so he can afford to take care of multiple women. So no, even the society is not frowning against that. A lot of people are happy to go into polygamy. So this now brings the question of, if a man decides, I want to marry a second wife, I am no longer happy with my first wife, and they are not happy to divorce their first wife, because this is polygamy, and they are happy to keep her around for her to take care of the children, and for him to ensure that, okay, the kids are not going to grow up in another man's house. So this is one of the things that they want to keep in place. They want to keep the first wife in check while they move on with the second wife. So recently, Nollywood actress Georgina Onuoha called out her sister's husband, who abandoned the sister with 4 children to go back to Nigeria to marry a second wife, a much younger lady, to just start over again with her in Nigeria while the family are in Canada. So she told him that if you're not interested, if you know you've married somebody else, my sister is asking you for a divorce, you're refusing to give her a divorce, but you're happily married in Nigeria, you should do the needful, divorce her and continue, the marriage with your new wife. So a lot of people came online, a lot of people condemned the new marriage, a lot of people blamed the man for not divorcing the wife before marrying the second wife. There were different conversations on social media. There were 3 groups of people having this conversation. There were the women, the married women. They kind of blamed the side chick, blamed the husband. They said, well, if a woman has, bettered 4 children for you, struggled with you to acquire wealth, and now you're abandoning her to go to Nigeria to marry a second wife, the problem is with the side chick. The side chick was the one that broke up the home. Why would she even go into a relationship with a man knowing that he's married with children? So 70% of the blame was on the side chick, because they believe that if she had said no, even Georgina Noah mentioned that she should have said no. If a married man is approaching you and he's married, you should say no. So that was, the Married Women Association of Nigeria blamed the side chick for even accommodating the man to the extent of marrying him, knowing that he's a married man with children. The second group of people are the single ladies. The single ladies said married men don't respect themselves. Sometimes married men lie, about their marital status. So sometimes they don't even know that these men are married. So they go into relationship with them, especially the ones that are based in, abroad. So when they come back to Nigeria for certain businesses, some of them lie that they are divorced. They don't have any relationship with their family. They cook up so many stories, and then they get into relationship with these people only to now realize that they are married. Sometimes they were already pregnant. Some people even hire people to, hire in-laws to go to this lady's house to get married to them. Some of them realize, even on their traditional marriage, maybe somebody blew the whistle that this man you're getting married to is actually married with children. So the single ladies are saying, this blame is not entirely on us. We are not to be blamed. Hold your husband. And the third set of people are the men. The men said, well, relationship end. We are Africans. We are entitled to more than one wife. So some of these men argue that once the wives start having children, their attention is divided. They no longer give them attention. So sometimes they too need care. They too need attention. And these single ladies and younger ladies are available to provide all the emotional and whatever support that they need. So, and in turn, they're happy to take care of them. They're happy to marry them as second wife. And, the conversation goes on. Until I had a conversation with a family friend who detailed the kind of wife that he wanted to marry. He literally said he wants somebody that is going to be submissive. Well, okay. He said he wants somebody that is he is the captain of the ship, and whatever he wants goes. And I'm like, really? He went as far as saying that he is an African man. By the way, this person lives in diaspora. He said he's an African man, and he's entitled to marry more than one wife. And one of the discussion he's going to have with his wife to be, is that yes, we're getting married, but I am going to, at some point, I may decide to take a second wife, and you have to be comfortable with that. At least he is honest enough to have that conversation with whoever he's going to marry to say, well, I am entitled to have a second wife and this is what I'm going to do. I may do it if it's required, but if I don't, just to let you know that this will be something I'll be looking at in the future. I think most people don't have these conversations before going into marriages because they assume that once they're getting married to this person, this is the last bus stop. They're not going to look at any other person. From the women's side, this is the only person that they want to be with. And culturally, that is how it's supposed to be. So, are we supposed to start having these conversations with people, especially after I heard from my family friend who insisted that he's going to have that conversation with his wife just for them to be clear, just for them to be on the same page, so that one day when he's bringing in another woman, she wouldn't be surprised. So while thinking about this topic, I asked myself, is this really new? The reality is, it is not new. That has always been the case. We have men from Africa who travel to, the Western society. They have their Western wife and their family, and then they go back to Nigeria to marry their African wife, who they visit maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And nobody frowns. Even the wife in Nigeria knows that there's a woman in the West, but they believe that, okay, this woman is just there to give him papers. So they accept these things until it becomes a problem. I think what changed, what made it more visible to everybody, is the fact that our women are more independent now. We have traveled. We are now living in the West, and our men are now traveling and seeing our women in the West, marrying them, having a family with them, instead of just marrying a white woman. So they have that struggle wife where they marry for either papers, whatever reason that they marry that person, and they struggle with that person, and then one day they realize that this is not what I want, or I just want somebody that I want that African wife. I want that wife that will be submissive. I want that wife that would be my kind of cultural wife. So most times they now go back to Nigeria to marry another wife. I think this is why people are now hearing about it. I think this is why people are now calling these men out. So in summary, I think we as a people culturally, we're not against polygamy until the introduction of foreign culture, which says one man, one wife. Has this worked for us? The answer is no, because these men, although they have their one wife, they have multiple girlfriends, they have multiple side chicks, they have multiple mistresses, they have people, women out there who have kids for them. So I think we need to think about these things. We need to start talking about them. Is it really working? Is this actually something that we need to talk about even before marriage? Do we need to sit down and say, okay, are you going to get married to a second wife? Years down the line, is this what you are open to? Some men are happy with one wife. They're happy with that. They're happy to stay, raise their family, and just live their lives. While some people, naturally, this is not for them, but because the society says one man, one wife, this is the current trend, and they are happy to just go with the flow for a certain point in time. And even within that time, they have girlfriends, they have mistresses, they have side chicks, until they decide to make one of this mistress or one of these side chick the second wife or the third wife or the fourth wife. So who do we blame in this situation? Do we blame the second wife for dating a married man, knowing that he's married, and regardless of whatever the story he was feeding her about, the status of his marriage, do we really have to blame the woman, the other woman, or is this blame entirely on the man? The man, on the other hand, is saying that the relationship between their wives is no longer working. This is why they are taking on the second wife. Or do we really have to go back to the traditional sense of things? Even back then, some people just have one wife. They are happy with one wife, even when others have 5, 10 wives. Some people had just one wife because this is what they want. So is this something that we need to start talking about? Is this something that we need to start asking our brothers, our men? Are you inclined, in the future to look for a second wife or a third wife? Is that what you're open to? I think everybody has somebody for them. There are some women who are happy to have co-wives. There are some women who are happy to be second wives. So I think being open to these conversations would kind of cushion the shock when your husband comes in one day to say, I am going to get a second wife, or I'm going back to Nigeria, and because I have a business now there, I want somebody to take care of me. That is why I'm having a second wife. Do we need to start having these conversations, or do we still need to sit down, lie to ourselves that culturally we are a society of one man, one wife? So my question now is to young ladies: are you open to being the other woman, the second wife? If you are, give me your reasons. If you're not, give me your reasons. The reality of things is this is going on as we speak, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. We are having people leave their wives to marry another woman, and it's become the norm. So let us start having this conversation truthfully, and it will go a long way to help us. So thank you very much for watching today's video. Please subscribe, like, share, and also click on that notification bell to get notified anytime I post new content. Thank you very much, and see you same time next week. Bye bye.